I'm a faculty member in the Department of Economics and one of the organizers of the conference we have here today, which is called the Chinese Economy in the Long Run. My main research interests are economic history, political economy, economic development and growth, and macroeconomics. Essentially, you could put it simply as understanding why some countries are rich, others poor, or within countries why some groups of people are richer than others, or some families are richer than others. What explains the wealth of nations, so to say? Well, when we think about our own lives, some of us were luckier than others in the place where we were born, in the families to which we were born. And, when you can understand by looking the world around you that it's not just the talent that you have or the hard work that you have that determines how successful you are at life, but also the context into which you were born. And the same is true largely for societies overall. Some societies existed in historical periods where human life was easier than others. And in fact, in the last, let's say, 2 centuries, human life, especially initially in the West, but now has been spreading to other parts of the world, that human life has become much better than it used to. So it's easy, to open a newspaper on a random day and think all you see is gloom and bad news. But actually, we are living in a time that is pretty good by comparison with most historical times that have existed, right? Well, again, as I said, these questions have enormous implications for human welfare, for things like world hunger, for things like world hunger is at a very poverty level, but even to improve the lives of people even in middle-income countries and especially in low-income countries. So any understanding that our intellectual scholarly activities can bring to what kind of policies can you implement in order to improve people's lives, especially the poorest people in the world, can be helpful. And countries that are poor, they are poor because they've always remained poor, and in some cases countries have gone back in terms of their development. But for the most part, countries that are rich, they all started being poor, right? So, if we understand better what is the process that some countries have done in order to become more developed, we can hopefully also understand better what are the barriers that exist in countries that are poor, barriers to their own development. And if we can understand intellectually how can we remove some of those barriers, in principle, the welfare implications are enormous. So I guess anyone in this room that you ask, if their research contributes even if a little bit to understanding how can you remove barriers to development in countries that are poor, that's a huge achievement.